Hey guys, guess what? It's Angel. You're watching my latest video, and today's video is going to be, I believe, the fifth video that I am making or that I have made dealing with mental illness. And May is Mental Illness Awareness Month, and so I wanted to do this video so we could kind of talk about it. And the main thing I think is there's an organization called NAMI. It's called National Alliance on Mental Illness, I believe. And they're a great resource if you're struggling with mental illness or you know someone that is, and you're a caregiver. You can go on the NAMI website and find your local NAMI organizations, and also it will be helpful if you want to be a part of a support group. NAMI is a great resource for that. So I'm going to link all the other videos that I've done on mental illness, and I'll put NAMI down there in the description box so you can click on those and check them out if you would like. And also I'm going to link this article. He's turned it into a memoir. I'm going to link it below, and I'm just going to talk about it briefly in this video. It is a memoir called My Lovely Wife in the Psych Ward. And when I read the article, it really resonated with me. Like, I felt like their story was our story, my husband and I. And he basically talks about how he has moved from the spouse role into a spouse/caregiver role. And he talks about how he helps his wife to manage her symptoms. I believe she was diagnosed with bipolar 1. But it's been a while since I read the article. But he basically helps her to recognize when she is in a high or a low. He reminds her to take her medication. He points out to her when she needs to sort of regroup, calm down, get more sleep, do more self-care. And he talks about how the relationship has changed, where sometimes he feels like the parent and she's the child. And so again, I'll say when I read the article, it just resonated with me so much. After my big break, the psychiatrist that I saw in the hospital, we did like a family meeting before they discharged me, where we sat down and he basically, kind of talked to both of us about, things that we could do to sort of reduce my symptoms by controlling my stress. So when we got home, my husband took over everything. I still, am the main person that cleans the house and does the laundry, but basically I've been in a low for over a year, and so I have very few days like today where I feel like I have energy and I can, do my hair, do my makeup, get dressed, possibly leave the house, which is not a usual thing for me. But I have more lows than I have highs. And so, my husband has moved into that category where he took over everything and has tried and still tries to relieve as many stressors as possible. Because for me, stressors are the things that put me into a low, or they can put me into a hypomanic state where I'm really agitated. It feels like I have all this pent-up energy inside that I don't know what to do with. And so sometimes that will manifest in a way where I will get into a project and I will just throw myself into it and become almost obsessed by it. Or, I get into a low, and so my husband has been, he's tried to remove all of those stressors from me, and he basically is my caregiver. And I'm so grateful to have him, because he is the best caregiver. He is so patient with me. He takes care of our family and does an amazing job at it, and he still loves me. Which I'm not always a easy person to love. And, he deals with my mood swings, and I can be really mean at times. I can be, not so mean at times. It just depends on what mood I'm in. Now, when I read the article, he talks about how when his wife gets into, she has bipolar 1, so she goes more into a manic state, and that can resonate or turn into a situation where you're psychotic, you can be delusional, you can see things that aren't really there, you kind of lose touch with reality. And he talks about when he notices that she's sort of going into one of those states, he will remind her to take her medication. So when I read it, I got the idea that she only takes medication when she's experiencing symptoms. So, and I've read other people's stories or seen videos on YouTube by people that do say they only take meds when they feel like they need them. That is not me. I have to take my meds every day, and some of them I take multiple times a day. In fact, I have my phone set, my alarms will tell me when it's time to take a specific med. And I'll be honest, a lot of times I will turn off that alarm and I will not take the med, either because it's not close to me or I don't have a drink to take it with. And then in my mind I will say, okay, I'll take it in a second. And then I forget. And then when I forget, then I'm like, okay, did I take this? Did I not take it? Should I take it now? No, I shouldn't take it now, because if I already took it, then I'm going to have, an issue. And so, my husband is basically like, okay, we need to get you a pill organizer, so he has taken on the role of, he's still my spouse, but he's also my caregiver. And this article also talks about how when he, notices an episode and he tries to sort of rein her in by saying, honey, I think you need more sleep. Or, I think you need to leave this project because you can get to it another day. How she sometimes has a negative reaction to that. And I experience the same things where my husband will say, okay, calm down, you're talking too fast, you need to sort of relax, like I have a negative reaction to that. Sometimes I will say, I'm not 5. Like I understand, I'm not a little kid. Or he will say something like if I'm talking too rapidly or something like that, he will say, okay, you need to be quiet now. Which when he says that, in my brain translates to, you need to shut up now. And then, again, that's a negative reaction. And sometimes, he'll tell me something and I feel like he's talking down to me, and so I'll say something like, I'm not a moron. And so, I'm laughing about it, but it's not a laughable situation when it's happening, because it causes a conflict in our marriage. And sometimes it's hard to navigate that part where it's time for him to be a spouse, and then another part where it's time for him to be a caregiver. And it is like caring for a child. And so, I hate to say that, but sometimes I do act childish, or I can't manage my moods, which is, that's pretty much all the time. But I don't always recognize my moods. So he's really good at like honing me in and saying, okay, honey, I think, you're getting a little towards the hypomanic area, or, when I'm really depressed. When I'm really depressed, I pretty much know that I'm depressed, but sometimes it takes like a day for me to figure it out, like, oh, okay. And so when I'm really depressed, he is a great caregiver. He tries to leave me alone. He will check in on me if he's really worried about me, and like, if I'm having a really hard time, if he is worried about me, he will check it. Like, we had an instance, okay, so the last 6 days I was in a low, meaning I did not get out of bed, pretty much. Like, I would in the evening go in and take a quick shower and then put on fresh pajamas and crawl back in bed. And either it was I was totally in bed, or I would get up and move from the bed to the couch and be there all day. So when I am in that state, and it's been a while since I've been in a low for a long period, meaning like 6 days for me is a long period. It's been a while since I've had that situation. But when I'm in that state, he does whatever he can to take care of me. He brings me food, he checks in on me, you know, kind of talks to me about what kind of mood I'm in, what I'm experiencing, and is there for me when I cry and when I say things like, I don't want to get emotional, so when I say things like, honey, I know I'm a burden, or I feel like I'm a burden, or, you know, I can't get out of bed, I'm a loser, you know, like I start having all those negative thoughts. He's there for me to sort of help me take that in and cry if I need to cry or whatever. And sometimes I feel like, you know, what would happen if the roles were reversed? Would I be as patient with him? Would I be as loving towards him? And to be honest, I don't know that I could. Like, it takes a really special person to care for a loved one, whether it be, you know, an illness like, you know, cancer or something like that. You know, mental illness can be, I'm not, you know, saying that it's the same as cancer, but what I'm saying is it can be a serious illness, and it takes a lot. Like, when I feel like when I'm sick, when I'm having a hard time, there's like a darkness that comes over the whole house, and I feel like it affects my son and definitely affects my husband, because they see me basically a wreck. Like, I haven't done my hair, I don't have my makeup on, you know, sometimes I haven't showered, and they see me like that, and I know that they worry about me, and I know that it's, you know, an issue. So just like in the article where he talks about caring for his wife and how her illness affects the whole family, it's the same in my family. My illness affects the whole family. It affects the house. And so I don't know if you guys resonate with that. If you are dealing with mental illness, whatever kind it is, and you have a caregiver, you know, I don't know, does this resonate with you? Do you feel a connection like, okay, you know, I can relate to that? I mean, I hope you can. That's really the thing about these videos that I really wanted, is to reach out to people who might be dealing with this, or who is a caregiver, to reach out to them and basically let them know that you are not alone. Okay? That's the number one thing. And I had a hard time figuring that out when I first got my diagnosis, because I felt completely alone and isolated from everyone. So the purpose of these is to share my experience and to also let you know that you are not alone, and that there's nothing wrong with the way you are feeling, meaning you have an illness. You can't control that illness. The illness that you have is an illness of the brain. The brain controls the entire body. So if the brain is sick, the body is sick. And people have to recognize that. People have to treat mental illness as a serious illness, because it is a serious illness. And many people lose their battle with mental illness every year. And so I want people to recognize that. And May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's really basically trying to reach out to people and eliminate the stigma that comes with mental illness, because it's almost like a big family secret when it happens, because you don't know who you can share your experience with. You feel like you can't share it with anyone because you feel like it's just happening to you. But there are, I don't know the statistics, but I would assume there are millions of people that suffer with mental illness. And so when you come across articles like the one that I read, and again, I will link that in the description box below. But when you come across articles like that, or you come across a YouTube video where you can relate with someone, it helps you to know that you're not alone. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I do have some other things that I want to address, and I'll do that in a different video. Just dealing with sort of my struggle as of late and what's going on there, and what kind of treatments I'm going to pursue, or I am pursuing, with the I can't think of the word. My psych basically told me to look into ECT. So I've been doing some research on that. I'm going to do a video on that and talk a little bit more about what that is and how it affects you, and what my journey is dealing with that. So, did I talk about everything I wanted to? I think so. Gosh, guys, I hope this video finds you well. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having a great week. And until we talk again, bye.